Alright, this 90s Street Fighter show was wild. And I don't mean this Street Fighter show, I mean this one.
They got all 10 cases of heroin, sir.
Let me let that repeat one more time just in case you missed it.
They got all 10 cases of heroin, sir.
Like there are children somewhere watching this show. So, completely out of context, we start this show off with a drug deal. As we heard earlier, there were 10 cases of heroin that were being sold. Then a drug bust suddenly takes place, led by Captain Dorai of the Hong Kong police force. Captain Dorai, the father of Chung-Li, for anyone who's interested. He takes credit for their drug bust, by the way. He solely takes credit for their drug bust. That's kind of important. This news article mentions the bust of the 10 cases of heroin. They keep specifying 10 cases of heroin repeatedly. I don't even know if I can actually get away with having this video on YouTube with that drug being mentioned by name so many times. So we cut to the bad guy's evil lair, and we get this guy. I'm gonna be honest, this character might be one of probably the top 10 racist characters in a 90s anime I think I've seen in quite a while. His look and the voice acting is ridiculous, specifically the voice acting. I think I could get away with the look more if he didn't sound like this.
So what do we do now? Leave town till the heat dies down?
Anyway, these guys' special plan is to try to kill the police force, and they're gonna start specifically with Captain Dorai, so this doesn't sound like a stupid idea at all. Do they have a plan? We have no idea so far. So Dorai is told that the heroin bust still needs to be investigated further, and Interpol, I guess, is jumping in. Also note, this is a Street Fighter cartoon, not a single Street Fighter character has appeared yet. We also learned that the name of the evil drug kingpins, I guess, is the Assurer, and they attach bodyguards to Captain Dorai just in case they try to attack him sooner rather than later. Now we get Ken and Ryu, and their 16-year-old tour guide Chung-Li. I did not make a single detail of that up. For the record, both Ken and Ryu are both 19 years old. Yes, in no way, shape, form, or fashion is this cartoon canon, but it is still amazing. So Ken and Ryu drop Chun-Li off, and she invites Ken and Ryu to come back. Ken and Ryu. I've gotten people on my case before calling that the wrong name, so let me just say what his name is. She invites Ken and Ryu back to her home later on because Fei Long's supposed to be coming by. This sounds so ridiculous. Chun-Li specifically asks Ken to pick her up from a conference later on before Fei Long's arrival. This would be relevant in a little while. And the whole time they're having this conversation, this creep is watching in the shadows. He's not necessarily hiding very well, but I guess they have no reason to be suspicious at the moment. That plane is flying very low overhead. So apparently the Assurer has flown some goons in to get the job done with Captain Dorai. Giant dudes smoking in the airport in suits. Nothing suspicious going on here at all. Okay, so the creep has been hiding at the same spot all day long. It's nighttime now. He specifically comes up with a plan to try to attack Chung-Li, I guess to get Dorai's attention because he never arrives back home. So they send the goofy guy with the racist voice after Chung-Li, and he follows her to wherever her conference is. Back at the evil drug lair, all the bad guys are practicing Muay Thai downstairs. It almost sounds like gunshots, I guess, from below in the basement where they're hiding at. Once again, I'm not making a single detail of this up. These hits do sound crazy, by the way. Even the music for this sounds creepy. Okay, so Captain Dorai has been working at the police station for 3 days straight. He has yet to go home or go to sleep yet. And he's falling apart, so everybody's telling him to get some rest and just leave. I'm not gonna lie though, if the hit has been put out on him staying at the police station is not the dumbest idea in the world. If you're gonna be a sitting duck, I guess be a sitting duck with the cops, right? So somehow Chung-Li arrives at this park with these clowns performing. This happens out of nowhere. So we have a clown just running around giving balloons to people randomly in the park. He gives one to Chung-Li and then snatches her up. We get this intermission. And conveniently, when we cut back, the clown has been thrown down a flight of steps. Luckily, Ken and Ryu have arrived, but they're definitely not needed at this point. But they show up anyways and start putting down the clowns. Honestly, Chung-Li had already bodied about 4 of them. There was no reason for Ken or Ryu to show up at this point, but whatever. So Ken disposes of the black guy, and he learns from the last clown that the reason why they targeted Chung-Li in the first place was because they were really after Captain Dorai. So then the black guy calls back to the Assurer, and we get this conversation.
My arm is messed up. Come and get me and take me to the hospital.
I hate this so much, and him wearing clown makeup is not helping. I hate this part with a passion. So, the leader of the Ashura finally learns that Captain Dora has finally gone home. So now they're planning an attack, and by attack, I mean they're gonna shoot him before he actually gets inside the house. This is not subtle at all. They back a truck in at Captain Dora's house, and about 30 people come out with knives, clubs, guns, all sorts of weapons ready to kill somebody. Also, random Easter egg, Akuma's in this gang for some reason just chilling. Even ninjas pop out. And Fei Long randomly arrives and starts laying people out. By the way, this is Fei Long. I know it looks nothing like him in the video games because he's supposed to just look like Bruce Lee. Granted, they do have him fight like him. He just looks nothing like Bruce Lee or Fei Long from the games. So Dora's students finally start getting torn apart. Once again, I did say it was 30 people with weapons. And then they begin to rough Fei Long up. So the rest of the gang breaks into Dora's actual room inside of his house where he's awaiting them with a club of his own. So about 10 people break into this house, come into his room, and are about to try to kill him. He tells them to put their weapons down and tells them they're under arrest, like they're just gonna casually just let him put them in handcuffs, I guess. This is the dumbest cartoon. So Ken, Ryu, and Chun-Li still have not left yet to hurry up and get to Dora before he gets killed. And if the last line of dialogue is any indication, he probably will get killed. So one of the students is seemingly killed in front of Fei Long. Fei Long takes his shirt off, so I guess he means business now. Apparently nobody's seen Muay Thai in this show before, because everybody is horrified at the idea of fighting against it. So now we get the superhero appearance from Ken and Ryu. Chun-Li goes inside after her father, which is genius. Send the 16-year-old inside with all the people with the weapons and we'll just fight everybody else out here. We get this amazing one-liner from Ryu.
Muay Thai. Watch their elbows and knees. Mai Tai. That's a tropical drink, isn't it?
Meanwhile, inside, Chun-Li gets her hands on some weapons after taking a few guys out. How they haven't killed Dora in all this time is amazing to me. So Fei Long tells Ken and Ryu to watch for everyone's elbows and knees, and these two idiots don't listen. But they do come to the realization that because they're fighting using their elbows and knees that they have balance issues, which I believe is a flaw of Muay Thai. I'm just not sure how they came to that conclusion when fighting them. Who knows, I'm not a martial artist, but Ryu almost kills one of them with a belly-to-belly suplex. Like, the three of them just start hitting wrestling moves on all the Muay Thai fighters. Dora hits some crazy combo on one of the guys inside, and the last remaining henchman realizes he's all by himself, so he does the smart thing and runs away. And Captain Dora reveals that there's no need to chase them down because he knows where their hideout is. How he knows this, I have no idea. This has never been explained either. So after the fight, Ryu and Ken starts inquiring more about Muay Thai, I guess looking to seek it out. You can imagine who that's about to lead to. And so as Ryu and Ken start arguing over who's the better martial artist, we cut to the front emblem on this truck, and it's the Shadaloo logo. As this crazy episode comes to an end and leads to another episode of drug transactions, but that's another conversation for another day. We'll visit Ryu's prison adventures later on. So me being familiar with this show, this is still a pretty crazy episode, but there are a few crazier ones that take place. But out of context with somebody that's not familiar with the series or at least knows about Street Fighter and comes across this is wild.
Get it on that. Select and make it first pick. Get it on down. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Get it on down.